Well, here we are once again, off on another adventure. Just had to grab my coffee, as I normally do. Got a couple of my rum balls, famous rum balls from the Bakehouse Blitz here in Maiden Gully where I live. So anyway, this video, well, we're at the end of 2019 and it's been the most amazing, fabulous year for me and this channel. I have had so many adventures and I appreciate every moment that you guys have watched me running around the countryside, traveling far and wide, chasing nightscape images. So today what I'm going to do is I guess reminisce just a little bit. I'm going to go around to a few locations that I've visited and I want to show you some spots, but you know what? Some of the spots I'm going to show you today are so insignificant you'd wonder why you'd ever bother stopping to take a nightscape image there. But you know, that's some of the magic. I find that being able to shoot some of these locations, that I guess making something out of nothing, and that's one of the big things that I've been doing the past few years is trying to seek out locations. So let's face it, I don't live in an epic mountainous region. It's reasonably flat and predictable, let's put it that way. But nevertheless, I love finding these hidden gems. So just going to enjoy my coffee here for a minute. It's, by the way, at the end of the year, it's summer here in Australia. It's been pouring rain today. It's actually cold. I've got my jumper back on, but you know, we sometimes get 4 seasons in one day. Nothing wrong with that. Anyway, let's get on the road and have a bit of a look. Now, one of the things I've done quite a fair bit of is just randomly stop in the middle of the road, just like here, and take photographs. And I got an awesome Milky Way shot back in, I think it was April of 2016. And I just love this type of shot because, well, I mean, I'm just out here on a road on the way home. It wasn't anything special and I hadn't even planned to do this. I just came along here one day, saw the Milky Way core just in the top of the canopy of the trees, and I think it looks awesome. Well, I'm just about getting blown off the top of this hill at the moment, but I want to show you another example of what I'm talking about. Now, I was driving along this country road here, way back, it was 2015, and it was about August of that year, and I remember driving past these shrubs over here. Now, at the time, they were covered in blossom, and I thought to myself, that's going to make an awesome nightscape image, because well, firstly, there's no trees anywhere around here. And secondly, it's facing in the direction that I could get the Milky Way core setting down in the western sky over there. So what did I do? Well, I came back here one night. It was cold, frosty night, and I waited for the Milky Way to get right down low behind that tree over there. And I decided to try something a little different. I put my Nikon 50mm f1.8 on the D750, which is what I was shooting at the time. Did a bit of light painting and it came up really well. I was so happy with that shot. Now, it's so insignificant, this site. You would never look twice at that old bush behind the car here normally. But on that one night, so I suppose I just like to drive around. I spend a lot of time driving. I want to see what's out here that isn't necessarily the obvious subject matter. And this is another example of that. I've been absolutely blown away by the support that I've received from you guys all throughout 2019. I don't know whether I would have had the enthusiasm to do so many videos this year if it wasn't for that awesome support. So I really want to thank you so much for that. So once again, I'm here at this beautiful old church, and if you've followed my videos at all, you'd know that I've shot here many nights under the stars. And I guess one of the reasons that I'm doing this video at the end of 2019 is just to reminisce a little bit and to reflect upon the things that I've done, and not just this year, but the last maybe 4 or 5 years in particular. And I think reflecting and reminiscing is a really good source of inspiration, because one, we can look at where we've come from. We can look at our work from a few years ago and compare it to what we're doing today, and hopefully we've made some improvements. But not only that, some of those shots that we took years ago are still our favourites today. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. So going back to a place where you've had some good success shooting in the past, I think is one of the factors that gives us a little bit of impetus and enthusiasm to continue our journey on our Nightscape images. Once again, we've got 4 seasons. It's sunny now, brilliant blue sky, and yet just before it was pelting down with rain. Still pretty windy though, so I'm not quite sure what I've got in store for the rest of the day, but we'll find out in a minute. Of course, one of the things that I take great pleasure in when I'm out scouting the countryside is my food. Now, right here, I've got ham cheese. Now, this shop I just went into did not have pineapple. And I'm thinking to myself, who in their right mind would not have pineapple? But anyway, so I normally have ham, cheese and pineapple. Today, it's just ham and cheese. As I said before, the weather's not great today. It's very windy, so there's lots and lots of sticks and twigs falling down. But I'm out here next to the river. Don't know if you can see the river. It's down here behind me in the bridge here. This is the Loddon River. So I've come here quite a bit to shoot nightscapes. It's a beautiful place to be, either in the daytime or the nighttime. So just gonna go and see if I can find somewhere to sit down. So what am I doing today? Well, you know, I'm actually doing what I love to do. Just getting out into the great outdoors. I don't think I realised how much I enjoyed spending time just out in the daytime here, enjoying the countryside. I'm here on the river. It's a shocking day wind-wise and it's been raining, but it doesn't really matter to me. I'm doing what I love to do. So I guess what I'm saying to you is, when you're in a place of contentment and you're feeling like that you're happy about the things that you're doing, your work will get far better because of that. And I think, you know, sure, I come out here to scout out locations, and the reason I'm here is to have a look around at these beautiful locations and see if I can work out some nightscape compositions. But whilst I'm here doing that, I'm actually getting so much more out of it. You know, just relaxing and breathing in the fresh air and enjoying nature. And you know, I've lived a long time working, like we all do, and not having time to get out and enjoy these things. And now, I'm a little bit older now. Things change. You know, my kids have grown up, they're off my hands. You know, I didn't start all of this touring around like I'm doing now until I was into my 50s. Now, I know that's a surprise to some of you. I know some of you think I'm about 35, but you know, that's not true. Things change, priorities change. And for me, personally, doing what I'm doing now, I'm content. I'm content with what I'm earning as far as income level. I'm content with where I sit in my life-work balance and my ability to be able to travel without too many strings attached. You know I could be earning a lot more money doing other things, but I love what I'm doing here. Why would I want to do something else? You know, things change and our priority changes. And I guess any of you who might be in a similar situation to me, I just want to encourage you, because things do change as you get a little bit older and it frees up our time. And so here I am, sitting out on a riverbank, looking for compositions to shoot nightscapes. Now, some of you might think, well, you know, just shoot landscapes in the daytime while you're here. No worries about that either. I'm happy to do that. I'm just happy to be here enjoying this beautiful scene. All right, so I've had my lunch. I'm pretty content, stomach's full. I'm going to move on and show you a few more places where I've shot some nightscapes and hopefully find a few more words of inspiration. So let's get going. So people often ask me, how can they improve their nightscape photography? And my very first answer to those people is to do exactly what I'm doing today. And that is to get out during the daylight hours and scout the countryside, because it has so many benefits. Firstly, you find subject matter that you can't possibly find when you're scouting around at nighttime. You just can't see things. But secondly, and this is more of an emotional level, I suppose, you start to connect with the landscape, because you go to places that you probably wouldn't go to in normal everyday traveling around the countryside. And so that's what I do all the time. That's what I'm doing today. I'm not necessarily looking for a new place to shoot at night, although I may well find that. That's not my primary reason for doing what I'm doing here. My primary reason is to just motivate myself to actually open my eyes to subject matter that maybe I wouldn't be looking for normally. So some of the places I'm going to show you today, you're looking at and you say, well, how on earth did you find that? How did you work out that there's a nightscape there? Well, it's only happened because I got in the car, drove around, take a few deep breaths and say to myself, what am I going to find today? And invariably, I end up finding something to shoot. All right, well, here we are at a place that I've only ever been to shoot at once before. You can see the old chimneys down there in the background, and it's an old farmhouse that's been left ruined for many, many years now. And it was probably about 4 years ago when I shot this. So back at the time, I was developing my craft. And when I was shooting this 4 years ago, I was only shooting single frames. But you know, I still love this spot, and I fondly remember every time I drive past this road, I really remember the night that I came here to shoot this. It was a night in about June. It was very cold, very late. Milky Way call was up over the top of that tree over there, and it brings back great memories. And that's the thing that I suppose I want to mention once again today, is that memories have emotion attached to them. And when you attach emotion to photography, that's when you get passion. And when you have passion for photography, the sky's the limit. You can do anything. It's what gets you out of bed at night to come out here in a freezing cold night and shoot an old scene like this. And you know, since then, I've shot countless other places. I've developed my craft, I've worked on the techniques, and I've done all of those things. And as you know, because you're following some of my videos in the past, you've seen the different types of shots that I shoot. But what I'm saying here is this is just one of those things. It's part of my journey that has given me that greater passion for what I do. And I absolutely love it. And so photography without passion and emotion pretty much comes down to formulas and camera settings. And I don't know about you, but that leaves me somewhat flat. There has to be more to it than that.
Now right here is another example of what I'm talking about. This is just a dirt road, really on the way to nowhere. It doesn't go anywhere much, it's just farmland around here. But for some reason, back in October of 2015, there was a massive aurora happening. And I was thinking to myself, where can I go where I can be away from the city lights and where I can actually get a reasonably open and clear perspective facing down to the south where the aurora was happening. And for some reason my mind came to this lane. Now I had been here before because just over the other side here there's an old ruin, and behind that is a harvester. And you may remember early this year I did a feature on that harvester and light painting and layering and stacking and all sorts of things. That was fantastic. But this image I'm talking about with the aurora goes way back, quite a few years before that, back to 2015. And so I came here, parked the car just over here, set my camera up. At the time it was a D750 with the 14 to 24 f2.8 lens, pointed the camera south, and as those of you who shoot auroras know, you hope for the best. Now I can remember thinking on that night, this is not much good, I can't see much happening in the sky. But when I actually processed the image, it doesn't look too bad. There's a beautiful pink aurora glow in the sky facing down there towards the south. So I guess one of the things I remember most about that night is that you never give up. I mean, even if you think you haven't captured anything, you just don't know what might be there. And on that same night, I visited another location not that far from here with this old stone ruin. And the same thing happened there. I thought, I can't see the aurora, so those shots won't be any good, but they're not too bad. And I actually took some pretty good shots. They are, by the way, just, these are all single shots. So again, they're not brilliant images. They're not amongst my top 10 images of all time, but they take me back to a time when I remember achieving something that I thought, well, I wasn't gonna get. And so that's why I like this spot. Now the other thing I remember doing when I was here, because I was thinking to myself at the time, well, these shots won't be any good, what else can I do? So I shot a multi-row panorama facing down this road, because at the time the Milky Way core was setting down in the west, so it was a good shot to get there. And it's not my finest work. I mean, I'm happy to admit I've done heaps better shots since then. But it doesn't matter, because when you look back on these images, sometimes it gives you just that little bit of inspiration to try it again and try something just that little bit better next time. But you know, I can guarantee you, every time I come here to this spot and this road, I remember those shots. That's funny, isn't it? But that's just how I'm wired. I think I'm wired to respond to the emotion that's attached to each image. So, as I've been saying, memories bring emotion, and emotion is our connection point with creative photography. All right, let's move on, see what else we can find. Oh, you're not gonna believe this. I've just come out, driven onto the road from that last location we were at, and I've gazed over into the paddock on my right hand side, and I've found something that I have never seen before. How does that happen? I've travelled this road dozens and dozens of times, and I'm always scouting for foreground subjects to shoot with a nightscape in mind. Anyway, I've just found something. I'm going to go and have a look. This could be another exciting discovery, and this is the reason I do this. Okay, let's go and have a look. Now I am fighting gale force winds just to get across the paddock here to have a look at this. So I hope it's worth it. Oh, absolutely unbelievable. I just cannot believe that I haven't seen this before. Just have a look at this. Here I am under this tree, which is a place I don't want to be with the wind the way it is. We've got this machine here. I don't know what it is. Some sort of old farm machinery. Oh dear. Dust. Oh boy. Oh. I think I've got half the paddock in my face. I'm just going to hide behind this tree. I'm not sure if you can see that, but that's the augmented reality view in PhotoPills, and it's showing the Milky Way core directly over the top of both of these items. Absolutely awesome. Right next to that, I don't know what this machine is, but there's two of them out here in the paddock. Oh, here we go. Now it's starting to rain. These are the sacrifices you have to make to find a great nightscape subject. Man, absolutely unbelievable. Oh dear, I've had enough of this. Back to the car. Oh. So just to finish up my little discussion today, and to thank you guys once more for tuning in for 2019, I want to bring you to this spot here. Now, early in the season, I'm talking late January, early February in the year, the Milky Way rises up in the eastern sky here where I live in the southern part of Australia, very early in the morning. So between 4 and 5 a.m, sunrise not long after that. And I get really excited because it's been a few months since I've seen the Milky Way core, so I'm one of those people that gets out of bed all excited very early, make my way out to a place like this. And that's exactly what happened here one night. So I came out here all excited because it was a nice, when I left home it was a nice clear night, pretty cold even though it was early February, a couple of years ago now. And I came to this place here, this old grain silo. Now, it's on the side of the railway line. It's been disused for many years. No trains go through here anymore. It's just an old derelict building. But it makes a perfect subject for nightscape because the Milky Way comes up right over this railway line and right over the top of the structure here. So, what happens? Well, I get out here and the clouds have come across. And I get a bit frustrated. But you know what? One of the things I really loved about this shot was the fact that, there were clouds on the horizon down there, and higher up in the sky, the Milky Way was there, and I was able to see it in between the cloud. But the glow from the town that's about 30 kilometres away lit up underneath those clouds beautifully. I did some light painting on the structure here, and I blended, I think, 2 or 3 shots together and created this image. And even now, I'm really proud of that shot. Even though it's not one of my best shots, this proves my point today. It's about the experience. It's about the memory. I can remember coming out here. I remember the feeling of excitement. Then I remember the feeling of disappointment. And then I remember the feeling of, well, hang on, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Well, this is funny, Here I am talking about this structure down here, and I happen to look over in that paddock over there, and I see this lone tree. You can just see over here. I've never shot that before. That's just sitting up there in a paddock. I reckon I can get a shot of that. So the next time I come out here, I'm going to set up over in that paddock and see how I go. This is what happens. You start looking sideways, you look away from the obvious subject that's here, and we see something like that. Well, you wouldn't read about it, would you? It's starting to rain once again. So I've chosen not the best day to come out and do this filming, but it doesn't matter. I don't really care what the weather does because I just love being out here so much. So I'm wrapping up this video. This is wrapping up 2019. And once again, a huge thank you to all of you guys who follow me, who subscribe to the channel, who comment down below. and even casual observers. Some of you might only tune in once in a while. That's okay, I don't mind, because the whole point of this is to inspire and to encourage and to generate some sort of community for Nightscape images. So love every one of you, really appreciate all that you have done to inspire me over the course of 2019. I'll leave you with a few images, some of them from a few years ago, such as the ones I've showed you today, just to finish up. And I'm really looking forward to 2020. It's going to be a huge year for me. I've got so much already planned. I don't know if you know or not, but I run Nightscape photography workshops, and they've pretty much all been sold out for the last couple of months already. Also excited, I'm going to New Zealand next year, 2020. Looking forward to that. So all the best, guys, and have a great new year. I'll see you really soon.